lot of intermediate jazz guitarists make improvising over jazz progressions way harder than it needs to be. They see a tune like Autumn Leaves and they think C minor 7 has to get C Dorian, F7 gets another scale, F Mixolydian, B flat major will play B flat major scale, and then you have A minor 7 flat 5, D7 altered, G minor 6. They're not really improvising anymore. They're thinking from one scale to the next and just trying not to get lost. But a lot of jazz greats do not actually think this way. They simplify. Now, George Benson has talked before about thinking in terms of major and minor.
It's either major or minor, depending on where you're putting it and where the melody note is.
And Joe Pass talks about organizing harmony in terms of major, minor, and dominant.
If I have a 2-5, forget the 2. You don't need it.
So in this lesson, I want to show you what that kind of thinking actually looks like on guitar so that you can do it as well. So I'm going to show you the 4 different paths through this first 8 bars of Autumn Leaves using simple major and minor triads. Some of these paths use minor conversions, some use major triads, but all of them are designed to do one thing, which is help you improvise through the progression without getting overwhelmed, without thinking of a new scale for every chord. Really, you won't be thinking at all, and without losing your place. After helping hundreds, if not thousands of guitarists learn to improvise more confidently, this is one of the biggest problems I see, and it's also one of the fastest ways I've seen players improve their improvising. So let's look real quickly at the first 8 bars of Autumn Leaves. We have this 2-5 to B flat major, C minor 7, F7, B flat major, and then we have an E flat major on that 4th bar, and then we have a minor 2-5 to G minor, A minor 7 flat 5, D7 or D7 altered, and then G minor 6. If you think of every chord as a separate scale, it's too much. It's way too much on one side where we're thinking way too much. But if you simplify too far, you lose the sound of the changes. For example, you could look at most of this and say, okay, I'll just play the B flat major scale. It makes things easier, but it doesn't actually make you sound like you're playing the changes. And the reason for that is because you're not taking certain notes from that B flat major scale and giving them the direction that they have within this progression. Certain notes have a pull to other notes within a progression. That's what we mean by voice leading. So it doesn't really tell me where in the line I should go. We need to get familiar with sort of the gravity of each of the notes and the direction that they want to pull in. The scale just gives you the notes, but not the direction. And so that's the problem with simplifying in this wrong way. It makes the progression easier to think about, but it doesn't actually make it easier to improvise. So we don't want to just have fewer notes, we need the actual path. This is also where a lot of players discover Pat Martino's minor conversion. And look, minor conversion can be useful, at least at first. It can help you reduce the different chord types into a minor sound, but a lot of intermediate students stay there and they think minor conversion is this panacea, solves all their problems, but it's really a version of the same issue. Instead of asking what scale goes with this chord, now they're converting the scale into what minor scale do I convert this chord into. And they're just really replacing one scale with another, and it still has an issue of jumping around. For example, let's take this Autumn Leaves and do a minor conversion of it. We keep our C minor as C minor, the F7 now becomes C minor in minor conversion, and B flat major, we switch to G minor. Just on that small area, even if we went through the whole thing, it gets more complicated, but just there, it doesn't tell us how C minor will move to G minor. What notes from that C minor, where do those go into G minor? And it doesn't give us this visual path that we'll have with these major and minor triads. It also doesn't automatically give you any sort of meaningful phrase. What guys end up doing here, which you've seen in a bunch of different videos, is taking some Pat Martino phrase and then just jumping it around as if that's how musicians improvise. It's not copy and paste. So when you see that happening with different players demonstrating that, just know that's not how we actually create music. Okay, so what do we do instead? Instead of asking what scale, we want to figure out what are the major and minor triads that give you this guidepost. Now, this is going to be a path, a guidepost, however you want to think about it, that is making sure you're on the right direction through the changes, but you get to decide what you want to play through that. And I'll show you some examples to get started. Before we get into that, I do have a 5-page PDF that you can download for this lesson for free that gets into all the voice leading paths and how to practice them. So you can get that down below in the Jazz Guitar Vault, totally for free. So let's take a look through this first path. And for C minor, we're going to use a C minor triad. And the idea here for all of these paths is we want to move as little as possible. That's what this voice leading teaches us. Certain notes within that triad, C, E flat, or G, have different places that they can go, that they want to go, in a sense, where the pull or the direction leads them. And one way we can do this, kind of the simplest way to start out, is descending chromatically. And you'll notice that when we do that, we have C minor over C minor. When we get to F7, we can actually move that C minor triad down to B major. That gives us our sharp 11, our flat 7, and our flat 9. You guys might be familiar with this as a tritone substitution. I like thinking about this as just descending chromatically. And then that B moves very smoothly down into B flat over B flat major. And B flat actually works also for the E flat major. We don't even have to change anything for that. Let me play what that sounds like. So within here, you can pick notes that you're looking at as you play through this, and you see that E flat wants to go down to D, or this C could go down to B, could go down to B flat. It's showing us that within each of these triads, each of those notes has a certain direction it wants to lead, in this case, chromatically down. And that's what lets you play like you're hearing the changes. It's not about the full scale. I could just play that one note, and you get the sense of the changes. So we need to learn what those guideposts are, and these paths are different ways of doing that for us. Now this path also works as is over that minor 2/5. So let's hear what it sounds like there. You don't even need to play the full triad to get the effect. Let's move on now to path 2. Now this is an example where instead of focusing on the C minor, the 2 chord, we're going to treat the dominant as the focus. So for the 2/5s, we're going to just focus on F major. So C minor F7 is going to become F major triad for 2 measures. And then for the major chords, we'll convert those to minor. So we get F major going up to G minor. It's a sort of deceptive cadence here. And then over the minor 2/5, we're going to do something different. The minor 2/5, we're going to focus on that 5 chord, like I said. So we'll have a D major for the D7 and also for the 2 chord before it. But that D major, we just change one note. That F sharp becomes F, and D minor sounds great over G minor. So F to G minor, D to D minor. Let's hear that. Now you might be hearing that with just the triads, it doesn't quite feel like music yet, and it's really not supposed to. The idea here, when you're going through the pass, is to look at your guitar, look at the fretboard, look where each of those notes in the triad moves to when the chord changes or when the voice leading path changes. From there, you want to start building vocabulary, language around that. And there's a bunch of different things we can do with that. But for this lesson, I want to show you just the pass as is, and then we'll talk about how you add language on top of that at the end. Path number 3 is a really fun one, and it's where we start up a 5th, and then we'll do our chromatic descending. So for C minor, we're going to use G minor. For the F7, we'll treat it altered, And that gives us G flat minor or F sharp minor. And then over B flat major, we get F major. As is, that's fine. And you can even use that over the E flat major or just leave space. When we go to the minor 2/5, I like using G major triad to give me that natural 9. And then for the D7 altered, when we shift down to F sharp, we're going to use F sharp diminished. And then from there, moving up to G minor. So let's hear that one. And our fourth path starts on the third of this 2 chord. So we're going to get E flat major for C minor. That's going to become E flat minor over F7, and then that slides down to D minor for the B flat major and or the E flat major as well. What's cool about this one is we can do the exact same thing for the minor 2/5 that comes after. So we can do E flat for the A minor 7 flat 5, E flat minor for the D7 altered, and D minor for G minor. Now these 4 paths are extremely useful. They help me see the progression, they help me hear the voice leading, and they help me not lose my place. But we do have one obvious problem, and it's that if I'm only playing the triads, it still can sound like an exercise. So use these triads as guideposts. Understand that they're not your solo yet. You need the guideposts though in order to connect language to them. The place I recommend going next would be to learn and apply the 9 essential jazz patterns. In the PDF that I have linked down below in the Jazz Guitar Vault, I show you using Essential Jazz Pattern 3 how you can play through these changes with the different paths using this 1, 2, 3, 5 pattern. And it's very helpful because it'll start to quickly sound like language. It's not quite there yet. There's other things that you want to add on to, other essential jazz vocab you want to learn, but it is the next step after understanding these guideposts. One other thing I'll say, you don't need to master all 4 guideposts. Many jazz guitarists, great soloists, will use just one over a tune. They find a path through that tune that they like, and they use that. It's like if you're trying to hike up to a mountain, you don't need to take 4 different paths. You just take one path that works. So find a path that you like and that works for you, and just focus on that one. For example, I'll demonstrate now using that path 4, where it's E flat minor, and D minor, and that's what I'll be visualizing. I'm not really thinking about a scale. I'm not even thinking about those triads. I'm seeing those notes, and I'm seeing how they change, and then I'm going to use that and play language around that. If you guys want to learn the 9 essential jazz patterns within my systematic curriculum where you're learning repertoire, comping, improvising, etc., check out a 7-day free trial of Chase's Guitar Academy. If you guys want to get some phrases, some essential jazz vocab and language, check out Jazz Phrase System. We have less than 40 founding member spots, so it's the lowest price you can get it at as an annual member down below, and that ends July 5th. So it's coming up pretty soon, either July 5th or when those spots go, and then the price doubles. So check those out, and I will see you guys in the next lesson. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful. If you guys have any questions about the paths or need some clarification, I'll answer them down below.